So this is Leah. Thank you very much indeed for coming onto the Zoom site today, which we're hoping to upload onto YouTube. It's very good of you to spend some time with us and the viewers and our membership. And we're really looking forward to listening to what you've got to say as well as seeing. Can I just tell listeners that Leah actually produced an article called Climate Justice on issue 30 of the Primary First NAPE magazine. And that's what piqued my interest, which was why I contacted Leah and I said, hey Leah, what have you got to say about climate justice? It sounds really interesting. So we're going to go through the questions and hopefully find out a lot more about what it's all about. Leah, would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so my name's Leah Duffy. I'm 14. I'm a volunteer for Teach the Future and Fridays for Future Scotland. I first got involved with climate activism through taking part in the school strikes that I heard about. Yep. And from that, I joined Fridays for Future Scotland. And from that, I heard about Teach the Future, so I joined that as well.
Excellent. Good. And what actually were your motivations when you thought, oh, this is for me? What sort of drove you on to decide you wanted to do the work?
Well, we talked about it a lot at home. My dad talked about it. And when I first learned about it, I was like, oh my gosh, why aren't we doing more about this? It seems so clear. So yeah, I guess it was a combination of determination. I guess I wanted to do something. I didn't want to feel like I wasn't doing anything. And I guess also just fear for our future was what drove it a bit as well.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, many thanks for that. I'm motivated because I've got 2 granddaughters. And so obviously I'm worried about their future and the way the world is going. So that's great. What is the sort of Teach for the Future attempting to do, therefore?
So Teach the Future want climate change and sustainability to be taught throughout the curriculum, and at the urgency that it's needed to reflect what is really happening.
Yes.
So that students today can have the skills and the understanding for the future that we're going to grow up into, how to tackle it and how to live with it. Yeah.
Wow. And am I right in thinking that the whole organisation is really run by students?
Yeah, it's a youth-led campaign.
It's a youth-led campaign, which is extraordinary because it is actually a big organisation. You have links all over the country, one way or another, haven't you? Which is good. So this article called Climate Justice, what does it actually mean?
So climate justice is about the ethical and political side of the climate crisis, not just the environmental side.
Yeah.
It highlights the inequalities in our society in that minorities and poorer communities, such as Black and brown people, people in less developed countries, will unfairly be impacted by the climate crisis on a higher scale than more privileged people will, and sooner.
That's right, and you state that in a very well written, may I say, article. I really enjoyed reading that. Good. So in terms of it's important to us and the world, sort of climate action is tackling, well, you mentioned social equality. What you also mentioned sort of political issues or political action. How do you manage to, or how does the organisation influence the politicians?
Well, I guess within Teach the Future, when we say Teach the Future, when we want that in the curriculum, when we want climate change in the curriculum, we want proper education on who's going to be impacted more as well, and how unfair the current system is, not just about wildlife and the environment, I guess.
And how are you contacting the politicians, those people who run the country or run parts of the country?
Well, we reach out to a lot of politicians via email. We have lots of calls with politicians. We do youth hustings where we talk to politicians, and we're doing a lot of those recently. Where youth talk to the politicians who are representing their constituency about the problems they want to be tackled.
Yes, yes, of which there are many. So also in your article, you talked about the English Climate Emergency Bill. Could you tell us something about that? That's a proposed bill, may I say. Have I got that right?
Yeah. So I personally don't know a huge amount of the bill, but essentially the bill asks for all education providers to teach the truth about the climate crisis, and teachers and lecturers to have the right training to be able to do that. Help for teachers to support pupils suffering from eco-anxiety as a result of the climate crisis. Increased outdoor education for students, and funding youth-led environmental social action so that we can have our say and have our voice. It also calls for creation of more green vocational training and retrofitting of all educational buildings to net zero emissions by 2030.
So this is a sort of a statutory requirement of schools, from primary schools through to secondary, colleges, universities, to increase the teaching and therefore the awareness of climate and how we can contribute to improve the climate, not only in the UK, but in the whole world. Yeah. If I'm right in thinking that. I mentioned to you in an email that you've got COP26 coming up in Glasgow in November. Do you know if your organisation is going to be involved in some way, whether it's placard waving outside or whether it's letters and emails, or is there going to be some input into that conference?
Well, I think Teach the Future will definitely try to have some action at COP26. Obviously, we don't know what COP26 is going to look like at the moment with COVID-19. But yeah, there's definitely talks about what we would like to do. There's nothing set in stone huge at the moment, but there will be something. Well, I guess long-term plans is to have our asks carried out, to, be able to see, and have proof. I mean, we're all students, we're in school, we'll know if we're being taught about climate change. And yeah, I think that's what we want, that's the goal.
That's great. Leah, thank you very, very much indeed. I'm most grateful for your input.
Thank you.